This is a video about how my variable backfill flap gates can be used to reduce the population of mosquitoes and other vectors that rely on stagnant water for a portion of their life cycle. Fish love my tide gates. Mosquitoes, not so much.
I'm Jeff Juel. I'm at Fur Island on Skagit County. I'm on the protected side of a levee looking at a drainage ditch that drains the agricultural land. Ultimately, the water from this ditch will pass through a flap-gated culvert and drain out into Skagit Bay. And as you can see by looking at the surface of the water, it's basically a stagnant, very degraded habitat. By allowing tidal exchange, essentially what would happen in this ditch is on a high tide, the water level would be about a half foot higher than it is right now. And on low tide, it would drop down to this level. And that would effectively dilute the algae and scum that's in the water and bring in fresh, clean water. And one of the more interesting benefits of all this is in areas of the world where they have problems with vector-borne disease like malaria, dengue fever, encephalitis, or even in America where we have West Nile virus, this would help reduce stagnant water that mosquitoes can reproduce in. Effectively, the daily tidal exchange would dilute the mosquito larvae to zero in a few tidal exchanges.
If a significant fraction of the storage volume of the drainage is filled and drained with each tide cycle, the dilution effect on the larvae is quite remarkable after only a few tidal exchanges. If there are 1 million recently hatched mosquito larvae in the drainage, after 5 tide cycles, their population will be reduced to 0. Tidal flushing using VBFGs could be a very effective vector control tactic.
And there's really not much of a downside to it. The water level would stay within the ditch. It wouldn't flood out into the fields. And it would have benefits besides just the mosquito control. The water quality would be better. The fish could have access to this habitat. Water temperature would be reduced. And dissolved oxygen levels would be higher. And also any pollutants that are finding their way into this drainage would be effectively diluted.
The ASCE, or the American Society of Civil Engineers, estimates that there are 100,000 miles of levees in the United States. That distance could encircle the Earth 4 times. A sizable fraction of the levees on planet Earth are located near coastal areas which experience regular tidal water level variations. It is likely there are at least tens of thousands of miles of drainage ditches behind levees on planet Earth that would benefit from a modest amount of tidal exchange. For a detailed description of how my tide can be used for vector control, go to issue.com and read my document titled A New Weapon in the War Against Malaria, or An Insidious Method for Larval Source Management. In addition to mosquitoes, stagnant water could increase transmission of schistosomiasis, also known as snail fever. Stagnant water also plays a role in a truly disgusting parasitic disease called dracunculosis, or guinea worms. Click on the links to learn more about these devastating parasitic illnesses. Schistosomiasis and dracunculosis are third world diseases. However, West Nile virus has arrived in Washington State. The photos of the highly degraded stagnant water that were used in this video are the direct result of Washington State's House Bill 1418. House Bill 1418 was written by State Senator Mary Margaret Haugen, Democrat. It was signed into law by then Governor Gary Locke, also Democrat, in 2003.